Hello there, this is Marcio, and another episode of Coding with Agents or Culture Coding with Agents. Um, sh- Short session, I hope, but yet part of the series of reflections and conversations from the day of a developer, a builder, right? Trying to capture moments where working with agents is kind of similar with life as we know it, and here's an interesting case. I don't know what's gonna happen, so I was able to capture a little bit before, because I usually say, right, you gotta grab the cat by the tail, but then I think the cat is passing now. I don't know. And here's a case, right? So let's go attempt to go straight to the context. So I have memos there and some code, and the things that we built, like bricks, right? So think like walls, but then memos, because I do through memos, it's meta coding, and it doesn't matter here. So I just visualizing code, and at some point I was like, doing something there, and I realized that after we did a memo number XYZ there, I end up in a situation like this. Okay, and you realize you need to understand what you are doing so far. Maybe you have to destroy the whole foundation of the house and do it again. We never know if we need to do that, yes or no. But the point is that it hurts, right? Even in digital systems, why we need to refactor, because we might be refactoring, and what if the refactoring is also not good at all, right? That's life, right? That happens. Now, good. So at some point I said this. I wonder, based on your analysis, or maybe you can do more analysis there. Do you know if we have some formal architecture for XYZ? That's what I'm saying there. And then I started like suggesting formal some keywords of computer science from computer science. Like, do you have the concept of a factory? Do you have some? I started giving. Throwing in the air ideas like pressuring ourselves to see if we had an architecture, if we are following patterns, architectural patterns, yes or no. And then I got some analysis there. A short answer. We have everything is pretty light so far. We don't have that level of formality. Or here's what's going on. So I got that, right? So after that, I said, I wonder if XYZ, if we could go in certain direction, right? And then actually it gave me a potential apologies. So this is just for the sake of brainstorming. I wonder if you think it makes sense that we make the widget system that we created like a widget runtime based in some list, a registry, something called registry. So here's a first bullet, and then it gave me, maybe that organization makes sense. Here's a clean way to phrase it, right? It gave me better statement than mine. Proposition and one clarifier. Okay, now at this point, okay, this is good, right? It's like a colleagueship going on, right? Back and forth, we are helping each other. So that's something for us to keep annotated here, documented, if you will. But nevertheless, right? I paused. Even this is important, but I paused right there. I said, "Oh wait, are you aware of our chat here?" Now today I wanted something else. This is new. I wanted to capture the chat, because the chat conversation serves to a certain extent to me. I wanted to visualize and to talk about this in a different way. So of course this video documents this, right? We can replicate later other day if we watch this video and digest what's going on here. But I tested, right? The systems, this GPT 5.2 codex capacity. Are you aware of our chat here? For instance, the answer that you just gave me, my previous message, are you aware of the last message we exchanged after started saying, I wonder, blah, 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 just wondering? He said, yes, I'm aware of the recent exchange. I'm tracking the threads where you asked about client-side widget equivalents and how something, pa, 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 pa. And then I said, and I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, could you create an HTML chat like fictional chat, like HTML where you can see my bubble on the right side and your answers on the left from the point that we just mentioned, blah, 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 and put for me in a public folder so I can see from the web. So this is new, right? This is totally new. And because this is like, yeah, we did something in the whiteboard. Can you take a picture of the whiteboard, right? Something like that. We're doing that, right? Generally, when you get the conversation, you say, write a memo. And that's the same thing. But today I wanted to do slightly different. I wanted to capture the session. This is almost like it's the taking minutes the other way around. I don't know. I didn't even know, right? But well, I could copy and paste this whole thing myself if I really wanted, right? But let's see what comes from there. I just wanted to exercise that thing. So it said created a snapshot HTML here. And supposedly there's text there, right? Now we go here, Q, run again the system, and it's called snapshot HTML, right? And then if I go here is snapshot HTML. Yes, now I have this chat, right? I wonder based on their analysis, or maybe you can do more, do you blah blah blah. Short answer, we have lightweight client side. It seems to be pretty accurate, right? Check it out, right? This part. Registry driven ends with brackets reg JSON, see something and see something. Yeah, it registry driven. We just return register plus manifest so the client knows that, but doesn't render custom widget. We just read metadata get plus but doesn't render custom widget. C, X, and Y. So the C referencing, right? It took it out, of course, maybe, because this thing is referencing editor parts. That's interesting. So at least 4 bullets. So yes, there is a client side. The yes there I missed it, right? Because it ended here. So yes, there is a client side, miss it. When I asked it something more, it gave me that, and it gave me this pretty close to some extent, except the references. I see, yes, framing, not too bad. Something to think about, right? Something to think about. Our conversation here, right? Thank you very much. Let's just end the session and think.